Hey there, welcome to day 2825 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here. Today we're talking about a lot of things in both Supersize Your Business and the Be a Better You Annual Challenge. But our focus is on physical health and well-being this whole month. And I didn't talk about it, but we need to come up with an area or a goal that we want to achieve by the end of the year with respect to our physical health and well-being, both personally and in Supersize Your Business, because we're going to hop into our ideas process tomorrow. But today we're talking about, and I use the spider webs on purpose to describe the awesome graphic that I created when talking a few years back to one of my clients, one of my students who was learning about the life framework and asked the question about how do these interact with one another. Obviously, we are multifaceted human beings, and what we do in one area of our life impacts another area of our life. And so this was the discussion we had on a scrap of paper, and I've used it ever since because it, to me, very clearly and visually depicts what the relationships between the different life framework areas actually look like. I usually present them in a nice list format, but that isn't how they work in real life, right? Sometimes they're all firing simultaneously and impacting one another. Other times, it's just a slow flow of one thing at a time. You know, we think something and then we believe it's possible for us, and we go about creating that physically in our life, our businesses or our life. And it would be awesome if we can get to the point where we're doing that automatically. And so today I came up with an exercise that I think is kind of fun. I don't know. I just thought of it this morning as I was getting ready. I'm like, well, what would be a powerful tool to have that would help us to think about and go from negative to positive when it comes to the interaction between these different areas and aspects of our life. So I gave an example of mental and physical connection and coming up with a positive word and a negative word. And then I did for Be a Better You Annual Challenge. And then I gave an example of the contribution and physical connection. What would be a positive and negative word that we could have? And when we hear or think of the negative thought or the negative word in our mind, we want to try to automatically switch to the positive one and use that as a positive trigger for us to be focusing on what's possible, focusing on the positive things and the positive areas of interaction between the different areas of the life framework, right? And because the more positive things we think about, the more positive things we feel, the more positive things, it increases our confidence, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So physically, if we're healthy and we have physical well-being and we're feeling confident and good about ourselves, if we're feeling good about it, and so that's, it ties into emotions, spiritual, confidence, you know, there's three areas right there. And then how do we communicate when we're feeling that way? So I think it's a fun challenge today. I, of course, have not done it yet, but I will think about it as I go about my day. Okay, physical and mental, right? What is a positive and a negative word? Physical and emotional, what's a positive and a negative word? You know, if I, for thinking, think negative self-talk, or if I think a negative thought, what's a word that would describe that? And then how do I flip that to possibility or positive thinking or infinity or whatever word triggers me to go from that negative doubt, worry, fear emotion to a positive doubt, worry, not doubt, opposite of that, right? Possibility emotion. And so then, see, I just switched from mental to emotional, and it all comes together, and that's why it's hard, but I think it's kind of a fun challenge to say, okay, what's one word? So then now I've got a list of 18 words. I can put that on my desk, and I could pay, or on my refrigerator, or by my bed, or wherever I walk, or on my bathroom mirror, and notice that if my confidence is low because I'm thinking, we do everything we do is thinking, so this is hard to separate. If I'm experiencing low confidence physically, is it because I'm feeling, maybe I've gained 10 pounds. I gained 10 pounds, and that negatively impacts my confidence. So it can be whatever works for you. Maybe fatso would be my negative one, and my positive one would be ideal or something, because I don't want to be a fatso, and I do want to be at my ideal healthy weight for me, etc. That is not a great example, but I think you understand where I'm going with this. Starting tomorrow, we are popping into our ideas process, and I forgot to talk about it today, but I'm going to mention it here. We need to come up with a physical health and well-being goal that we want to achieve by the end of the year. We're going to apply the ideas process to it to make sure that we achieve that by the end of this year. And like I said, normally I do physical as the first month that we dive deep into. Every year that we've done an annual challenge this way, I've done that. And this is the first year I mixed it up totally, and I'm doing it last. So usually I have the whole year to achieve my physical goal. And this year we only have a couple of months. So that's okay, because I've still been doing things and thinking about my physical health and well-being all year long. I just haven't had to be the focus of our topics, etc. So it's fun. I'm not sure if I'll go back to a more traditional, as I call it, or what I'm used to format in terms of the way the months line out, or if I'll keep it and I'll mix it up even further. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe physical will be in the middle next year. I don't have next year's challenge mapped out yet. Any ideas? Please share. All right, that's all I've got today. If I can help you in any way, please just ask. We're getting a new roof, so I probably will not be home, but I can still help. All right, have an awesome day, and I'll, of course, see you tomorrow.